just gearing up here. A couple technical difficulties. My speaker doesn't work. I was gonna start this off blasting my brother Young Screech's album real quick, but technical difficulties and some verbal difficulties, as you can see. Got through that with the grace of God. But we're getting in there. We're getting there, guys. Well, just real quick, we're gonna start with thank you guys, Nick, my brother Muhammad. Thank you guys for popping up, man. We appreciate you guys so much. And so just quick right off the bat, this one's gonna go a little long. At 7 p.m., we will be joined by my sister Shani, 5 Foot of Soul, who will be giving us her experience in protecting Black women, like how her day-to-day is as a Black woman, the troubles that she faces, if she feels protected or not by the community and those around her. So just hang in there tight with us, guys. It's going to be a very long, very good day, and we're about to party. We're taking shots after this. So.
And if we cut off, we'll just go back on. So just look for us if it cuts off. Yes.
If we cut off at 7 o'clock, because I believe live will cut us at 60 minutes, we will come right back on. Don't take your Black ass nowhere. Sit your Black ass down. We will be right back. I'm looking at the wrong camera again. So we should just...
You ready to start?
Yeah.
All right.
You ready?
Let's go. Yeah.
So we want to count this down?
Yeah.
And 5,
4,
3,
2.
And what's up, Black family? As you already know, it is me. It is your brother, your cousin, your uncle, your best friend. I am Blackman.
And I'm Ashay, the EP.
And we are welcoming you to episode 3 of Blak Thoughtz on protecting Black women.
So before we get started, we just want to promote a couple of Black-owned businesses. You want to start with yours? Oh wait, you already did. You jumped the gun.
No, that's not part of the taping though. So first of all, my brother Young Screech, his album Freedom of Screech is out on all platforms right now, today. My favorite joint on that is you gonna make me slap the shit out of you. We don't cuss around here, but that's the name of the song. And make sure you follow him at YUNG_SCREECH. Public school education. My brother Young Screech's album Freedom of Screech is out today. We support Black business around here.
Yes, we do. And I just want to shout out another artist, Lau. He just dropped a music video for his upcoming album. So you guys check it out. Go to his YouTube page, is Lau, Laal. And you can also follow him on Instagram, which is Lau Music, Laal Music.
There we go. And make sure you check that out on Instagram and YouTube.
Yep.
And first things first, we'd like to thank you guys for tuning in once again. We appreciate you guys so much. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We thank everyone that's been sharing the link so far and spreading the word about Blak Thoughtz. We appreciate you guys so much. 5 Foot of Soul, who will be joining us at 7 p.m. has just joined in. Hey, Shani, how you doing, sis? My brother Nick Shin is in here. Big Hodge. Our big brother Jason is in here. Appreciate you so much, my brother. And what we're going to do now is we are going to jump into a little bit of the swing of things around here. You know, we like to support each other. We like to big each other up. So we got a couple shout outs for our brothers and sisters out there. First of all, my brother Raymundo, who was in the house with us tonight. Shout outs to meal planning, my brother. It's the first... A healthy diet is the first step to a healthy body, and we are very proud of you, my brother. If you need anything, if you need advice, help, we are both on our own journeys, but we'd be very, very happy to help you. Just know, hit us up, brother, and we are with you. He told me earlier, he said brown rice and chicken, which is delicious, by the way.
Or you can also try black rice. Black rice is the better rice because it's not bleached or anything, but just a tip.
Yeah, pro tip, black is better. There we go. Pound it. There we go. There we go. And as always, a shout out to our sister at Queen Creek XO. Our sister Crystal, who was finishing up her business plan, who we are very proud of. Sister's gonna be a Black billionaire. Yeah. Black billionaire in the making. You know, we support Black billionaires around here. If you want to send me a quarter, I will need. I'm pretty sure I will need it at some point. And also, I'd like to thank her for putting us onto a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. to help make Black billionaires out of all of us. Sis, we appreciate you. We are proud of you.
I would like to shout out at 5 Foot of Soul for being on her 3rd week of her workout program. That is some great commitment there. And I also want to shout out Jess for being on her 2nd week of her workout regimen. You guys are doing a great job getting your bodies together. I am so proud of you guys.
And our brother, the big dog, Professor Ben.
Yes, Ben. He is starting his best practices for teaching online this week. He's going to be teaching the kids.
Yeah, man. Teach them kids, man, because, they lost out there. This government really don't care.
At all.
But we care about each other. We're going to keep this pushing, and we thank people like you for help pushing the community forward, because as we know, the children are our future. Yeah, thank you, Ben. So now we are on to today's topic real quick. Shout out to our brother Kayvon. Thank you for joining us. My brother Xavier, thank you for joining us, brother. We are about to have a good show today. We're going to protect these Black women. On to this topic, and what is that today, baby? As I already said.
We are going to be talking about protecting Black women.
Yes, we are going to be tackling the issues that Black women face daily, which include
police brutality. I can't even get it out. Oh my gosh.
Got through that by the grace of God.
Sexual assault, domestic violence, and even homicide.
Before we dig a little deeper into this, we want to get a little bit of. Let's get a little bit intimate. Ashe, the EP, and I, we are normal people here. There's no smoke and mirrors here. There's no green screen back there. There's no black screen that we're reading off of. This is our handy dandy notebook. This is our journal. This is where all of our Blak thoughts are stored. So if you see us looking down on here, and it's not, we know it's not what you see on TV, on those other people's shows. Hey, I am not a genius. I was dropped as a baby. I don't remember everything. It's going to keep me in check. I love you like you love me. There you go. And I think it's very important to jump back to the swing of things. I think it's very important to discuss why we are having this episode today. Yeah. If I can channel the ancestors really quick, do you mind?
Go ahead.
There we go. To quote our big brother, our ancestor, Malcolm X, the most disrespected person in America is
the Black woman.
The most unprotected person in America is
the Black woman.
The most neglected person in America is
the Black woman.
And we both find that to be true to this day.
Mm-hmm. We should feel safe going. We shouldn't feel unsafe going to the store or going to meet our friends or going to work or going to school. Or even going to our own homes, because people are out there to just harm us in all types of fronts.
And we see this on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Where I see women harassed on the streets kind of regularly, even from like a young age, where to a point where it's even like a joke or a meme on like social medias, where a man will approach a woman and say, "Hey, beautiful, how's your day going?" And then she'll say, "I'm not interested." And it's like, "Oh, well, FUB, you ain't cute anyway." That's harassment, guys. I know from a young age we were not taught that. We see the older guys acting a fool. We think it's funny. It becomes normal to us. These make our women unsafe. And when you see things like this, when you do things like this, you always have to remember that, hey, your mother has to walk these same streets. Your sister has to walk these same streets. Your cousin has to walk these same streets. As a father, your daughter is going to have to walk these same streets. So we have to make not just our streets, this entire world better for our queens.
Yeah, I've been out there and I've felt uncomfortable because I've been followed a few times in my life, like in high school, in junior high school, even recently. Like I had to call him because I felt so uncomfortable, and I felt it shouldn't have to be that way. even when you're on the Ave, for those of you who are from Queens, you know the Ave, like, there's always guys out there trying to hit on the women that are walking, and they just want to they just want to walk to the train or walk to the store, and y'all are just like, yo, what's up? Like, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think we both do. Every one of us on our live. And as you can tell by the quote-unquote black on black crime narrative, that the takeaway from that is that our abusers will mostly come from our neighborhoods. There will be people that we know, which we have statistics to elaborate on later. But unfortunately, it's not just from our community. Our black women also face police brutality.
Yep.
So if you need a definition of police brutality is a civil rights violation where law enforcement officers exercise undue or excessive force against a subject. That includes, but is not limited to, bullying, physical or verbal harassment, physical or mental injury, property damage, or death. Which leads us to our first point.
Yep. So on March 13th in Louisville, Kentucky, officers were armed with a battering ram, guns, and a no-knock warrant attempting to break into the home of Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. So he believed it was going to be a home invasion, so he fired his gun, and the police returned fire, striking and killing Miss Taylor. And although Kenneth Walker said Breonna Taylor was struggling to breathe for 5 minutes, she did not receive attention for 25.
Now, in a blatant cover-up for their misdeeds, the officers lied on their police report and stated that there was no forced entry, even though they used a battering ram to break down the door. They also said on the same report that Breonna Taylor, excuse me and forgive me, that Breonna Taylor suffered no injuries, even though she was shot at least 8 times.
Yeah. So, although Officer Brent Hackinson was fired, there have been no arrests made, and the world has come together to fight for the justice of Breonna Taylor.
Now, even though Breonna Taylor's death has rocked the world and has uncovered a massive issue that black women face with police brutality,
in the last 10 years, many black women have lost their lives due to botched police work and corruption.
And those women are Corinne Gaines,
Sandra Bland,
Tatiana Jefferson,
Tanisha Anderson,
Michelle Clouseau,
Charlena Lyles,
Kayla Moore,
92-year-old Katherine Johnson,
and 93-year-old Pearlie Golden. Those are just a few of many.
And not only are black women killed by police, but some are subjected to sexual assault as well. In 2016, Daniel Holtzclaw was convicted of raping 13 women while he was on duty. And this took place over a course of 6 months in 2014. So he was convicted of 18 out of 36 charges and was sentenced to 263 years in prison for which is a rare showing of justice in our community for the police brutality that we face.
Yes.
And prosecutors said that he targeted women that he believed were vulnerable and were less likely to believe if they spoke out against the allegations or what happened to them.
Which were black women with low income and some with criminal records.
Yeah.
Now, this is a reflection of the world's view of black women and how they are victim blamed.
In the case of Breonna Taylor, police were investigating 2 men who were allegedly selling narcotics at another location 10 miles away. But they believed one of them had shipped drugs delivered to Taylor's house, but no drugs were found at the scene.
And now, in a clear case of victim blaming, even though there were no drugs recovered at the scene, and to this day there is no evidence or no proof that narcotics were ever delivered to Breonna Taylor's home, rap producer J.W. Lucas decided to go on his Twitter and state that Breonna Taylor associated herself with many known drug dealers and signed up for this life, and that this was her consequence. And obviously, that was very disgusting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it did not end there. He also went on to defend the police officers who said he said that they were just doing their jobs and trying to feed their families. And in doing so, they took Breonna Taylor away from hers, which was absolutely disgusting here. And for many of you who don't know who J.W. Lucas is, he's a producer who's worked with Lil Uzi, DaBaby, and most recently, he is the producer for Pop Smoke's The Woo, which is a hit right now on radio. So, with the content of their music, I think it's pretty safe to say that DaBaby is a quote-unquote thug. Pop Smoke, rest his soul, was a quote-unquote thug. We've seen Lil Uzi get into many physical altercations in recent years since his emergence. It seems like the people that J.W. Lucas hangs around, I wonder what kind of lifestyle he's signing up for and what consequences he expects to come to him as a Caucasian man surrounded by people that look like us and an industry dominated by people that look like us.
I feel like he only said that because Breonna Taylor was a woman. I feel like if it was a man, he wouldn't have said that at all.
Shout out to our brother Nick Shin, who said he can EAD. We don't cuss around here, but yeah, he can EAD. Covered in chocolate sauce, a little bit of flaxseed. It's a good.
No flaxseed, because flaxseed is good for you.
Yeah, well, and as you can see, so in the names that we stated earlier, with we mentioned Sandra Bland.
Yeah, Sandra Bland.
Who died in police custody, and the case has never been solved. It was said that she committed suicide, which is widely been debunked.
Yeah.
Was from day one was not a narrative that we fell for in this community. And to this day, her family has not received justice. Corinne Gaines, who was served a warrant for a parking ticket that said that she was harassed by the police officers, refused to appear in court, so they went to serve her a warrant. And when the police obtained a key to her apartment from her landlord, she thought it was a home invasion, and she armed herself with a shotgun. And after a 6-hour standoff, a police officer claimed that she raised her gun towards other officers and shot her. After he had already shot her, he claimed that she was raising it again and shot her again. And again, in this, no arrests were made. Her family was awarded money in her wrongful death, but a judge overturned that last year, actually. Yes. There you go. And as you can see, justice is far and wide for blacks when they face police brutality. And what I would say is, for a lot of our women, like, these stories seem to like come and go from public view and from public mind. Because I know after Sandra Bland's family still has not gotten justice, so I don't see why that name is not still circulating. That was actually the start of the Say Her Name movement.
Yeah, it was. I remember that.
Yeah, and we're shocked to hear names like 92-year-old Katherine Johnson and 93-year-old Pearlie Golden. These things should not have happened.
So we're gonna move along to sexual assault. So the definition of that, if you guys need one, is an unlawful sexual intercourse of any other sexual penetration of the vagina, anus, or mouth of another person, with or without force, by a sex organ, other body part, or foreign object, without the consent of the victim.
Okay, cool. And we are moving along on our handy dandy notebooks.
Our Blak Thoughtz. So, sexual assault is unfortunately very common in the Black community. So, according to ModraCommunity.org, 1 in 4 Black girls will be sexually abused before they turn 18.
In another disturbing statistic, according to the U.S. Department of Justice, 1 in 5 women are survivors of rape.
So chances are you might know somebody who was sexually assaulted. Because I know I have. I know a few people. I have a few friends.
And unfortunately, we're going to keep going with these statistics, so please hang on for this ride. 40 to 60% of Black women reported being subjected to coercive sexual contact by the age of 18.
In the United States, 38% of Black women experience sexual violence other than rape during their lifetime. 17% experience sexual violence other than rape by an intimate partner. And even though recently reports have come out that Jeffrey Epstein did not want Black girls as part of his sex trafficking ring, 40% of confirmed sex trafficking survivors are Black.
And unfortunately, according to the Institute for Women's Policy Research, more than 20% of Black women are raped during their lifetime, which is higher than women overall. Black women also experience significantly higher rates of psychological abuse, including humiliation, insults, name-calling, and sexual coercion.
Unfortunately, our Black women are subject to this at a very young age.
Now, back to my handy-dandy notebook. According to a poll done by the National Online Research Center on Violence Against Women, 11.2% of high school-aged Black girls had been raped, and 52% of Black Midwestern and high school and college-aged children say they face sexual coercion. 93% of them knew their abuser. For those who don't know, sexual coercion is unwanted sexual activity that happens when you're pressured, tricked, or threatened, or forced in a non-physical way.
Which includes when a person of authority uses their power to solicit sex, such as a boss, a teacher, or even a police officer.
And to continue on this subject, because I believe we need to elaborate on examples of sexual coercion so that we can be able to identify it, like when it's happening, if we're doing it. This also happens when a person uses intimidation, and even when a person uses intimidation, and even though many men may agree on this, is when a woman is being worn down by someone who repeatedly asks for sex. Now, that last one is a little bit controversial, and I'm not going to say I understand why, but I can understand why it's been normalized. I know there's a bit of a narrative that women like to be chased, but what that means and how to do it, it differs from person to person. But one thing I will say for sure is that if a woman says that she does not want you, that means that she does not want you. Coming back for a second, third, or fourth time may not change things.
Right.
And if a woman is under pressure and decides to have sex with you, keep in mind any written contract that is made under any pressure, stress, or duress can be thrown out and is illegal. This is illegal, brother. So if you are doing it, if your friends are doing it, please reflect. Have a sit-down conversation with yourself. Have a sit-down conversation with your friends, with your fathers, your brothers, your uncles, and think about how you are approaching women and treating these women that you approach. Please and thank you to make a better day.
Not only are Black women more likely to be sexually assaulted by police, but there are, sexually assaulted overall, they're less likely to report their sexual assault to the police. So according to the Maryland Coalition Against Sexual Assault, only 15.8 to 35% of all sexual assaults are reported to the police. And a survivor's relationship to the offender can affect those outcomes. So if an offender is an intimate partner of the victim, only 25% of the sexual assaults would be reported. If the offender is a friend or an acquaintance, 18 to 40% of the assaults are reported. And if the offender is a stranger, between 46 to 66% of the assaults are reported.
Now, some reasons for not reporting these assaults, according to the same Maryland Coalition Against Sexual Assault, are fear of reprisal. It's considered a personal matter. The victim did not want the family or others to know. The victim felt the police could not or would not be any help. Fear of lack of evidence. And I'll let you take it from here.
Maybe they didn't want the offender to get in trouble with the law, or they felt the crime wasn't serious enough, or even they felt like they wouldn't believed or they would be blamed for the attack happening to them.
And to piggyback on that, which we are talking about sexual assault on Black women in the Black community, unfortunately, y'all know Robert's going to come up. As far as victim blaming and women being shamed, in R. Kelly's 2008 child pornography trial, a juror on that trial stated that he, quote, did not believe testimony from Black women because of how they dressed and act, which is pure trash.
So the R. Kelly trial was subsequent response from the public, specifically the Black community, showed us the severity of victim blaming and gaslighting in sexual assault in our community.
And unfortunately, sexual assault, the sexualization of Black girls starts very young, because girls do start to develop and hit puberty before boys do, and Black women are more voluptuous. So I'm sorry, you can describe a young girl, so I'm not touching that. Yeah.
So yeah, young females will end up, getting their breasts at a young age, and then their curves will start to come in at a young age. Is basically what we're trying to explain.
And it's disturbing that R. Kelly literally preyed on teenage girls for 2 decades and was able to get away with this. And this included marrying Aaliyah
publicly
at the age of 15 and recording himself in sexual acts with multiple teenage girls, and was acquitted of these charges for the simple fact that, and I quote, in a report published by Georgetown Law Center written by Jamila J. Blake, Talia Gomez, and Rebecca Epstein, found that adults view Black girls less innocent than their Caucasian counterparts. How? Okay. No. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, to this day, R. Kelly has not been convicted of a single charge, and he gets public support from the Black community, including celebrities like T.I. and Little Boosie. And there's a Black daycare and salon owner from Chicago who bailed him out of jail in 2019.
Which is disgusting. Which is which is what we see a lot of in this community, especially in this case of R. Kelly, where we see the abuser is way, way, way more protected than the actual victim. Whereas R. Kelly has been excused by, even in a video that's been circulating of Little Boosie, who states that R. Kelly is either innocent or should be forgiven just because of his musical catalog alone. Even in 2019, after Surviving R. Kelly, which was a special on BET aired, Spotify and Apple Music decided to take down R. Kelly's catalog completely, and they were met with protests. Why the music of a child abuser would still be allowed to circulate, which he's also still allowed to profit off of, is crazy to me. R. Kelly's catalog means nothing to me. How well he can sing means nothing to me. Who he managed means nothing to me. I am way, way, way more concerned about all of these little girls that he hurt, that him and his team of people hurt, which his management team also helps him. Chicago PD was also complicit in all of these crimes. And all of these perpetrators, all these abusers have gotten away with it. And all of these young girls are still out there hurting and trying to heal.
Yeah.
While R. Kelly was bailed out of prison and has been protected by his community because he's one of the quote unquote GOATs, which I just think is trash.
Yeah. Those of you who've seen the Boondocks, like even that episode, even Huey was like, look, y'all can't keep praising this guy based off the things that he's done. Like, yes, his music might be good, but still his actions are horrendous, especially to these young girls.
Our good sister Roxanne has joined us. Our good sister Angelica has joined us. Hi, Angelica. I love your drawings. I love your graphics. I hope I'm saying that right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. Mm-hmm. And our brother Devon is in the house with us, and Steph, our big sister from day one, Steph. Thank you guys for joining us. So swing right back into the topic. We also see the protection of abusers among friends and family a lot of times, where we do get the creepy uncle or the overly touchy grandfather. And this also applies to like aunts, cousins, and brothers and sisters as well, where a lot of times in the Black community we're taught what happens in this house stays in this house.
Yeah.
Which is, even though maybe unintentional, is just a way to protect abusers. I believe all abusers should be outed. They should be tried. They should have a day in court. They should be convicted. At the very least, they do not deserve protection. It cannot be as simple as this person is not invited to our house anymore. It cannot be as simple as when this person is coming over, you have to go change your clothes.
That's another thing. Because women, I'm sorry to cut you off, but girls are taught to cover themselves and to just to cover themselves and the men aren't taught to, you shouldn't behave like this. You know, the behavior or the things we do is always come to us, the females, but it never extends to the males that are acting on this. Because you could be dressed in a whole sweatsuit and a guy can be like, oh my God, look at that, you know?
Yeah. Which also, I believe, is a form of gaslighting.
Yeah.
When we teach our young girls and tell our women to be more modest, when instead we should be telling our young boys and our grown men to just be more honest, where they should be treating women better. It's not that women have to a woman does not have to act a certain way or dress a certain way for you to show her respect. As a human being, every single person you come across has a right to basic human respect and the right to their basic human rights. I know I said that word twice, maybe one time too many. So what? I know y'all know what I'm talking about. And I believe that's like gaslighting. When you tell a woman that, like, hey, we've seen this in court cases a lot, where what the woman had on at the time of her assault is brought up in trial.
Mm-hmm. Or if she was drinking, or if she was drunk, or she shouldn't have been out that late.
Or how many men was she around and why wasn't there other women around? If she must have wanted it.
Right.
If she was around this man.
Or I heard you're very flirtatious. You know, things like that. Like putting the blame on the female when that is completely wrong. Yeah.
And it leads to this level of like victim shaming and victim blaming is the reason why only 9% of all rapists get prosecuted.
Yep.
Only 5% cases lead to felony conviction. Only 3% of rapists will spend the day in prison, and the other 97% walk free to continue their behavior, which results in more physical and psychological abuse and even death. Which brings us to our next topic, domestic violence and homicide.
Yeah.
Sorry, this gets worse.
Yeah, it does. But we got to protect our Black women. So you gotta know.
Yeah.
So Time.com stated that Black women are almost 3 times more likely to experience death as a result to domestic violence than their white counterparts. And 22% of homicides that result from domestic violence happen to Black women. And 29% of all victimized women make it the leading cause of death for Black women ages 15 to 35. And
a very sickening and shocking statistic.
Yeah. Black women are 2.5 times more likely to be murdered by men than their white counterparts.
And studies show that 92% of Black female victims, they're trying to silence us. 92% of Black female victims knew their killer.
Yeah.
There we go. Now, for those of you who do not know, domestic violence is defined as the violence or aggressive behavior within the home, which includes emotional, physical, psychological, economical, and sexual abuse. It is one person's way to control another person. Actually, according to blackburncenter.org, in the Black community, more than 40% of Black women will experience domestic violence.
The National Center for Victims of Crimes found that 53.8% of Black women experience psychological abuse, while 41.2% experience physical abuse. So abuse is not just physical; it could be mental, verbal, and the mental abuse can cause the abused to become reliant on the abuser. So, if you guys know Stockholm Syndrome, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so one thing I want to point out here. So, I am going to have to find the name of this ex-pimp and the book where he teaches how to keep a woman in check.
You have got to be kidding me.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Where his method was whenever one of his girls got out of line, came up short with the money, his method was to beat them. To beat them senseless, to beat them bloody, beat them raw, and then draw them a bath. Clean them up, and you give them all the alcohol they need, all the drugs they need. You get them the medical attention if they need it. This is a way to control the victim by, one, you inflict the pain. Iceberg Slim. Shout outs to our sister Chandel. 5 foot of soul. Everybody go follow my sister, the most knowledgeable person I know. It is Iceberg Slim. This is his method. You beat the woman and you provide the medical attention, the alcohol, and the drugs. This way, even though you are the one that hurt them, you are also the one that heals them. So whenever they are hurt, they are programmed to come to you for their healing, which develops dependency, a false sense of dependency and a false sense of nurturing and love. Once again, shout outs to our sister Chandel, who will be joining us at 7 p.m. to give her Blak Thoughtz on protecting Black women. So you guys better stay tuned in for that. I'm sitting my black ass right here. There you go. There you go. We're back at me. So according to the Women of Color Network, about 21.9% of African American females are victimized by intimate partner violence in their lifetime. African American females experience intimate partner violence at a rate 35% higher than their white counterparts and about 2.5 times the rate of women of other races.
Yeah. Along with these statistics, in 2017, the Center for Disease Control stated that Black women experience the highest rates of homicide than any other racial group. So out of 100,000 women, 4.4 Black women are murdered, in comparison to Native American or Alaskan Native women, who are a close second at 4.3. But Asian, Hispanic, and Caucasian women report much lower numbers at 1.2, 1.8, and 1.5 respectively. So according to the Institute for Women's Research Policy, 92% of Black females know their killer. And not only do they know their killer, we also want to stress that they know their sexual abuser as well.
Yes. Now, even Do you?
Oh, she just said the name of the book. Sorry. I'm reading the comments.
Also, shout out to our sister Irada who joined in with us, and shout out to our brother Xavier who's been here for a while. Shout outs to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, Black family. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming. And yeah. So that's a little bit of a ghetto moment for me there. But back into things. Even though Black women are facing higher rates of domestic violence and homicide, they are less likely to use social service, battered women's programs, or go to the hospital because of domestic violence. There are so many reasons why abuse goes unreported, which includes victim blaming, due to the angry Black woman narrative, which I'm very familiar with. I don't need to read this to get to it. Black women are unfairly seen as mouthy, combative, and rude. And I've seen this done way too many times, where a man has used that as an excuse to put his hands on a woman because he believed, and others believe, that due to her behavior, she is the one that provoked the violence. And we saw this with Meg Thee Stallion recently in her altercation that involved Tory Lanez, where he allegedly shot her in both feet. Now, Megan has not come forward with any details about this. None of the other witnesses or anyone that was there has come forward with any details. As far as I know, I don't believe Tory Lanez has actually been released from police custody. So the only people who know for sure are Meg Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez, and the other people that was there, and the daughter of the devil incarnate, Kylie Jenner, apparently. There was still a narrative being put out there that Meg Thee Stallion was the aggressor here and Tory Lanez was acting in self-defense. Now, I was not there, but to me, if a known dancer gets shot in both of her feet, that sounds deliberate to me. That sounds like something that was meant to do. If you were not there, if you don't know any details, it is pointless and it is insensitive to try to create and circulate another story as to where Meg, I've seen it said because of how because the subject matter in her music, which is mostly sex, so I don't see why people would believe she's aggressive for that. Because of the height difference between her and Tory Lanez, Tory might have felt threatened, which is ridiculous to me, especially if he was already holding a gun. But Meg Thee Stallion did come forward and was very upfront about how hearing this did hurt her and was disruptive to her mental healing process. So if you could all join me real quick, put your hands together, clap real quick, point them to the sky.
You're so corny.
You gotta point them.
Let's point them.
We are sending a spirit bomb of love and positivity to our sister, the queen, the hot girl of hot girls, Meg Thee Stallion. God bless you, sis. Get well soon. Heal physically, most importantly, mentally. Yep. Thank you for dropping WAP today. I'm going to be playing that in here tonight. And so we're going to get right back into the show. And thank you, Meg. We love you. We appreciate your music. Get well soon.
Yeah. So the normalization of the behavior in our community is not just, from Meg Thee Stallion, but also an ex-NFL player, running back, Ray Rice. He was caught on an elevator camera knocking his then fiance unconscious. And in an interview, that was in 2014. In an interview in 2018, they both admitted that it was the only time that he physically abused her. But then he and she both admitted that there was other forms of abuse, like financial abuse, emotional abuse, things like that in their relationship. And Janae, his wife, did not realize it as abuse because she felt like it was just normal boyfriend-girlfriend behavior. And Ray Rice also admitted that growing up, he saw his mother in bad relationships. So he normalized that bad behavior, which then led to his behavior later in life.
Which is something that a lot of us see as children. Yeah. To keep it a buck, keep it 100, a lot of Black children come from broken homes, where our fathers are dating other women, our mothers are dating different men. And I'm not going to say pickings are slim for Black women, but among men and women, Black boys and Black girls, self-love is rare. And it shows in the people that we surround ourselves with, and it shows by the men that some of our Black women choose to associate with. A lot of these hood celebrities are drug dealers, gangbangers, and hey, you are most likely to end up romantically linked to someone in close proximity to you. And if you're walking out your door every day and these men are on your corner, calling your name every day, even though deep down you may know your king is not in this group, if you are lonely, if you don't love yourself, if you don't know what a healthy love looks like, there can end up with these men. And you have to have the wherewithal to know that any relationship that you are in, your children are also in a way involved in that relationship. Because how they see you and your mate react is what will become normal to them. Yep. You are the person that they look up to. So everything you do, they will believe is right. Especially since most parents want their kids to follow their actions. Mm-hmm. So as he said, he grew up watching his mother in bad relationships. I know 50 Cent has said that he watched his mother be mistreated, and we all see how he treats women now. I don't know his life. I don't know. Yeah, 50 Cent is not the go-to guy for how to treat a woman. We see a lot of misogyny among men, which T.I. can admit that his father put him on game. You can see how T.I. treats women. I love him. He is the king of the South. He is a GOAT. He is a legend. T.I.
He got some problems.
T.I. is like probably the best rapper and like the worst husband ever. But I'm pretty sure it gets worse or it could get better. But yeah, that's just, I'm rambling. I'm rage rambling a little bit. But that's just to say, like, hey, we have to watch not only our behavior around our children, the behavior of all the people who are allowed around our children. Another reason, and thanks to my handy dandy notebook, I am going to rage ramble once again. Another reason is Black women don't want to see Black men get arrested.
Yeah, while he takes a moment, I'm just going to jump in and say I personally knew a friend who did not want to see her abuser get arrested, and she told me she didn't want to ruin his life. And I understand where she's coming from, but also those actions that he committed led him that way, you know? And I feel like people need to pay for what they have done, especially if they're harming you. So, you okay?
Yeah, I'm going to try to calm myself down a little bit. Thank you guys for tuning in. Our brother Andy Meme Ray, my brother Andy Lee Ray. Miss you, man. Hopefully I'll be seeing you soon. Luna Bombay, thank you for joining the live. We are happy to have you guys. Good evening indeed, Black family. And I was wrong. I didn't calm down a bit. On the issue of Black women not wanting to see Black men arrested, Black men on trial, and Black men go to prison, I understand and I appreciate you. And I understand that you do not want that on your conscience. I can understand that you do not want a reputation as a snitch, which is also ridiculous in our community. But I will say this one time, and I'm probably going to say it a bunch of times. And we don't throw the N-word around here, so I gotta pull myself back. If he deserves to go to prison, send his black ass to prison. If you feel unsafe to the point where you need to call the police, call the police. I am pro putting myself first. And I want all of our black women, all of our sisters to put themselves first. Because it's been too long where everyone's needs comes before yours. The need for safety for yourself and your children should take precedence over everything. I understand that you don't want to see that man in handcuffs. I understand that in this climate, calling the police on a black man to a certain extent is already a death sentence. If you are in danger and you need to save yourself, call the police. He will be okay. In police custody, he will be. I want to say he'll be okay in police custody. He may not be. With him in police custody, you will be okay. I just want our queens to protect themselves, especially if this is coming from. If that black man is not protecting you, you do not have a reason to protect him. If he is not taking care of you, you do not have a reason to take care of him. Please, please, please put yourself first. If you need to call the police, call the police. Put his black ass in jail. And as we are hitting the 53 minute mark, I want to remind you guys that at 7 p.m., our sister, our queen, 5 Foot of Soul, will be going live with us and giving us all her black thoughts on protecting black women. She did that a little bit late. We're going to rewind that. She'll be giving us her black thoughts on protecting black women. Found it. There we go. We have thank you to our brothers, the Rolling Pin Podcast, for joining in. You're in attendance. Brothers, stick around. It's the tip of the iceberg, man. And also, you can always catch the replay of this episode and all other episodes right here on IGTV Live, YouTube coming soon.
So, the lack of police interference and the police neglect, which we saw in the case of Toyin Salu, right? A 19-year-old Black Lives Matter activist who went missing after tweeting about being sexually assaulted by a man who offered her a ride.
I'm sorry, this is a little bit emotional for me, which I'm going to ramble again. But Aloha Toyin Salu's body was recovered in the home of Aaron Glee Jr., a black man, disgrace of a black man, who later confessed to kidnapping, raping, and killing Salau, along with the body of 75-year-old Victoria Sims. After her disappearance, after those tweets, the police stated that they didn't believe the assault and disappearance were connected. Which, in my opinion, is completely idiotic and a blatant sign of police neglect. If this woman just tweeted that she was sexually assaulted and was in fear of her life and then she disappeared, for you to say that you don't believe her cry for help and her disappearance were connected, it just shows me you don't care. It just shows me that you don't want to put in the work. It shows me that these police are willing to ignore cries for help, ignore evidence, and are willing to overlook the plight of blacks. And I'm sorry, that's really heated for me. The body of these two women were found after police traced Sims's phone to the location. Not Toyin's, Sims's. Which is, I'm happy that she was found and her family got closure, and hopefully her family gets justice as well. And I want to say, thankfully, if the police were not looking for that woman who was in fact Caucasian, which has nothing to do with this, but if the police were not looking for her, Toyin's body would not have been found either. And Aaron Glee might have gotten away. But, yeah. Which
it
is
just shows that, you know, police don't care about us, you know, at all.
And also, to the point of send his black ass to prison, we do have to point out that these men will only be tried and convicted, and the police can only cooperate with you if you cooperate with them. There are many times where we've seen women call the police on their abuser, and they are guilted or threatened into throwing out the charges, which is, I can understand why you would want to protect your abuser, or maybe even protect yourself. You owe it to yourself to get justice. We all deserve to be treated better, a certain way. None of us deserve to have our human rights violated. So if these men are abusing you, if anyone is abusing you, please, please, please call the cops on their black ass. Also, cooperate with these police. And as we are coming to 58 minutes on IG Live, I have to remind you guys that we are not going anywhere. It is about to be 7 p.m. and our good sister 5 Foot of Soul will be joining us to give us her thoughts on
protecting black women. I'm so slow today.
No, I messed that up. We're going to do that again, guys, to give us her black thoughts on protecting black women. So before we get out of here on this live, we do want to give you guys a couple of resources before we move on to the queen who will be joining us. Yes. If my lovely, lovely EP would like to take over real quick.
So if you or anyone you know is in need of support for domestic violence, contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. Or if you can't talk, text LOVEIS, that's LOVEIS, to, TO, 22522. We will also be putting this on our page, just in case you guys did not write this down.
Yeah.
It will be on our page for you guys. And those of you who are new to this live, we also have resources to mental health. We also have mental health resources on our page as well. So if you guys want to take a look at that, you're more than welcome.